G'day, why is the British Grand Prix the biggest race on the F1 calendar? It is a monster, 480,000 people on the weekend, a record for race day, 164,000, and almost everybody walked away with a big smile on their face. The British Grand Prix is very much a marquee event. Everybody says that the Monaco race is the jewel in the crown, and yes, it is an important race for Formula One, but there's a fair amount of glitz and glamour and bullshit, to be honest, that you don't get at Silverstone. Silverstone's very much a down-to-earth crowd, lots and lots of fans, grandstands that are, well, perhaps in need of a bit of attention and love. But when you get a race like we had on Sunday, that's a win. But the question is, why is this race so popular? Well, for a start, you've got 7 of the 10 teams based in Britain, some right across the road from the track. That means that most of the people in the paddock are British. This is the home of F1. The very first race took place here in 1950. It was won by Giuseppe Nino Farina in an Alfa Romeo in front of King George VI. Now, have there been any other kings or queens that have attended this event since? If you know, I'd love to see your comments below. And while there was no royalty at this race, there were certainly celebrities, and I'm going to go into some detail about the list of celebrities. It was a mile long. And why did they pick this race? It's just got such a buzz. Having 3 British drivers in the field doesn't do this event any harm either, and certainly the crowds were very vocal for Lando, Lewis and George in that order of popularity. Let's look at the track itself. It's about 70 minutes from Heathrow Airport, probably 2 hours from the centre of London. It's in a rural setting, but the track itself is quite glorious. It's long, it's not that easy to get to and from or get around, but certainly the fan zone is a huge hit, and we could see this stage from Luffield, which is one of the best corners on the track. But there are so many spots that you can sit at, unlike, say, Monaco, where the track is short and you've got far fewer places to sit. And while I mentioned there are 3 British drivers, can you imagine what next year is going to be like when you get an extra one in there, Oliver Bearman? Of course, a lot of people travel from all over the world to come to this race, and if you're one of those and you need a VPN, I'm going to suggest you look at Surfshark. This is an app or a browser extension, so it downloads onto your phone or browser for easy integration. It keeps your online identity safe by encrypting your data to protect you from cyber criminals and big companies. You can also set up your Surfshark so it can detect that your passwords are being hacked or used by other people. And that's a game changer for someone like me with so many social media accounts. If you want to teleport yourself anywhere in the world, Surfshark allows you to do it, which gets you past region blocks. Like the other day, I wanted to watch a sport on an Australian streaming service, and Surfshark allowed me to do it. To sign up for Surfshark, click the link in the description below, enter the promo code KIM, and you'll get 84% off and an extra 4 months absolutely free. Now that's a deal. What I like about the actual event is that, to me, it's a bit like a music festival, because you've got so much going on around the actual on-track sessions that you don't have to be an avid motorsport enthusiast to get value out of going. Yes, the organisers have come under a bit of flack for the price rises, not allowing patrons to invade the track after the race, and for their rather controversial dynamic pricing. But if you can get over those hurdles, it's a great event. What floored me, and I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, was the number of helicopters that come into the track and leave the track on race day. It's crazy busy and quite impressive. Oftentimes there's 4 or 5 helicopters in a queue waiting to land, pick up their passengers and take off. And who are those people in those helicopters? Well, a lot of them are the celebrities I mentioned earlier on. Now, at some races, we might get a celebrity talent list of maybe half a dozen people. At this race, it was 52 pages. Now, a lot of them I didn't know, but many of them were megastars, like Jeremy Clarkson and his partner Lisa Hogan, who are huge at the moment because of their farming show, Clarkson's Farm. Jeremy's hugely popular on my social media channels. In fact, he slept in my bed once. I wasn't there. That was in my house in Lansdowne going back a number of years ago, and I actually mentioned that to him when I saw him on Sunday. But imagine my surprise when not only do I see Jeremy, but I see his partner in crime, Richard Hammond. Hammond! Now, he wasn't on that talent list. F1 actually puts out the talent list, and they're the people that they've invited. Richard, I imagine, was a guest of one of the teams. And sometimes those teams don't tell F1 that they have celebrities coming. Of course, Formula One has to print passes for those celebs that are coming, but sometimes the teams just use one of their guest passes, in which case F1 has no idea. But on race day, it was the first time that I stood at the entrance to the grid, which is about 6 meters wide. and there's a throng of people coming left and right, and it's very hard to work out who's who, even though I've seen that list. But I can tell you that Gordon Ramsay is instantly recognisable, along with his daughter Holly. He's been at a number of races. Singer Stormzy was there. Catherine and Michael Douglas, who are regulars at Formula One. They posed alongside one of the cars. They were actually a guest of Aston Martin's. But I did see the pair walk into the track, and at some point I said, because they weren't walking together, I said, any chance of the pair of you getting together? Which they gladly obliged. Do you recognise this man? If you're a Jamiroquai fan, I will suggest that you do. This is John Kay. He is the lead singer. Stuart Broad, a cricketer. Americans, you won't know anything about this. But you will know this gentleman, Patrick Mahomes. He's been at a number of races and was a guest of Alpine. It was funny when he walked in, he was approached by someone doing a podcast. He said, nope, no time, can't help you, because he was a guest of Alpine. And had he have stood there for very long, he would have been mobbed anyway. Football fans will know this man, Reece James. He was also at the race last year, 2023. He plays for Chelsea. Luke Littler, a darts player of note, only a young fella. What is he, 17 now? And he was very popular on the Thursday, throwing darts with a number of the drivers, and again popped up on Sunday to watch the race. Now, I imagine a lot of you will recognise this fellow. This is Central C. He's a rapper. My main demographic on this page is males 18 to 34, although I do have 35% female. But a lot of you will know Central C. He's been to a race previously. And I was delighted to see this man, one of the funniest men in the world, Rowan Atkinson. Now, I do see a lot of negative comments on my pages about celebrities. A lot of the die-hard fans, and there are many of them at the Silverstone track, they abhor the idea of celebrities getting in for nothing. But a lot of people make an exception for this man because he is an avid motor buff, knows a lot about cars and loves his Formula One. I was delighted to see Sir Mo Farah at the track. He is a legendary long-distance runner. How about the jacket he's got on here and the pose I got? Thank you, Sir Mo. And another Sir with us on the day was this man, Brian May, the Queen guitarist. And they played We Will Rock You after the national anthem, pumping up the crowd. And you've probably already seen the Brad Pitt movie trailer. Well, it's not a trailer, it's a teaser, really. They use that track over the top of most of the on-track action. Perhaps that's why Sir Brian was given an invite. There was a little bit of controversy, too, regarding him. He was approached by Martin Brundle on the grid for an interview and declined, and then Martin asked him again, which seemed to put him a little bit offside. But I see today that Mr. May did apologise for his response. And then I saw a response from Martin Brundle saying, if he didn't want to speak to me, that's fine. Very gentlemanly of both of them. Jerry Halliwell was there with her family, and yes, she is the wife of a team principal, but still a major star in her own right. Very popular on my Instagram post. Mary Earps, a British soccer player. Rugby union fans will know this man. This is Owen Farrell, and the list goes on and on. I didn't capture everybody on the grid. And if you look back at the paddock and the grid from past years, you'll find names like Liam Payne, One Direction, Romeo Beckham, David's son, Pep Guardiola, soccer coach here in this country, Paddy the Baddy, a fighter, and controversial model Cara Delevingne, who also snubbed Martin Brundle last year on the grid. Has Tom Cruise been to the British GP? Yes, he has, along with Freddie Flintoff, the cricket player, and Virgil van Dijk, who is pretty high up there in the soccer stakes. And one of my favourite moments was Harrison Ford, who in COVID 2021, when we're still wearing masks, got out of the car, put the mask on, and I was the only photographer out there, and I sprinted to get there, and he saw me run and stop and out of breath, so he offered to take off his mask, which I was thankful for. If you're thinking about coming to the 2025 British GP, get in early to get your tickets. Remember, they were whinging about Max being too good, and that's why tickets didn't sell out. Well, they sold out all right. They sold out and then some. So next year, you might be fighting with 4 British drivers on the grid to get a ticket. But when you do, make sure you grab a helicopter in and out, save you a whole lot of time. Bring your wellies, because if it rains, it can get pretty mushy out there. Organise your accommodation well in advance.
Oh my God. Hammond!
And be prepared to have a great time in the company of some very passionate motorsport fans. Oh, and if Lewis Hamilton wins, he will make every opportunity to get out amongst you in the crowd and crowd surf, as he did going back a few years ago, and as he wanted to do after the race this year. But of course, the crowd invasion was banned, and so he had to wait until the fan zone a little bit later on to do that. The British certainly know how to do motorsport, and if you're here next year and in the paddock, I look forward to saying hi to you. In the interim, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so. About half of you aren't subscribed. Go figure. And for a whole lot of extra content and merchandise, this is where you need to look. My sincere thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.